Welcome to another podcast edition with Sangamtalks. We are joined here by Anuradha Goyal ji. She needs very little introduction. She's an author. She's a very famous personality on social media, and she's been helping with a lot of causes, that is Indic and IKS in nature. So welcome to the podcast, Anuradha ji.
Namaste.
Question is, a lot of youth today is also working on newer concepts like, I keep hearing on social media about concerts on bhajans or bhajan concerts, as to say. And then there are made up fake weddings where there is no groom, there is no bride, but people want to gather around and dance and have a nice wedding party. These are new things coming up in as far as what I've heard and I've been to. What do you think is really happening? Are people missing out their roots and trying to get back to it, or is there something more nuanced here?
So I am myself a part of Bhajan Jam group in Koramangala right here in Bangalore. We meet once a month in a temple in Koramangala and we sing bhajans. So I think this generation is trying to make up for what couple of previous generations missed out on. They were too busy earning their basic bread and butter or building a secure life. Now this generation has that security, both from their family perspective. Their parents have earned enough, both from their own earnings perspective, so they are satisfied. Now what do you do when you do? Then you start seeking the higher goals. Just like Maslow's need hierarchy, you start moving up in that hierarchy and you start seeking meaning in life. So they are trying to fill the gap that was created in last couple of generations by seeking meaning. So I'm very happy about this trend, number one. Number two, this trend is also to be correlated with another trend, which is the consumption of alcohol going down, consumption of all the vices going down, and the consumption of devotional stuff improving. So if you see it in totality, it's exactly what we wanted to see in last couple of decades that we've been working in this space, and now the Gen Zs have actually made it possible. So that is it. Fake weddings, honestly, I have not heard about it or read about it. I'm hearing it from you for the first time. So I guess, but if it is true, then it is essentially people are trying to go back to traditions in terms of entertainment and enjoying. So they are trying to say that, you celebrate, there are points in time in a year which we call festivals. When we celebrate, there are points in time in our personal timeline when people get married around us, when new children are born, and so we are trying to go back to that timeline where celebrations are in tune with a seasonal or a personal milestone. So I think this is a good trend, but I hope they can replace those fake weddings by true weddings.
So one of the things I truly believe in, and there is a huge amount of evidence, that media plays a huge role in shaping the society, in shaping how people perceive things, right? And historically, we've seen a lot of movies, both in India and from Hollywood, which have described the Indic systems as being more, andhavishwas, if I can put that word, or superstitious, yes. And with today's advent of social media, the youth has got a lot more options. They've got a lot more opportunities to explore and see what is andhavishwas versus what is actually scripturally correct or historically correct. Wanted to hear your thoughts, because you work very closely with a lot of young professionals. Right. Wanted to hear your thoughts about how this is on the ground, really.
So, before internet became mainstream, our access to world views was limited to television, newspaper, films. And so that shaped our worldview. So if our films said that, offering milk to Shivaling is superstition, we accepted it. And it was also something that came to us from so-called modern thinkers of our time, So all the people who thought themselves to be modern thinkers, they would tell you to rebel, to question, and you kind of, you put two and two together and you make that your own worldview. But with the advent of internet, what has happened, the knowledge is available free, almost free of cost to you. Thanks to content creators, a lot of content is out there. All you have to know is that such a such thing exists. Once you know that it exists, you have access to it, and then you can interpret it for yourself. And somewhere, like I mentioned in my book, Lotus in the Stone, that there are strands of culture that never die. Even if we are living, I quote examples of people who have converted at some point in time in Indian history and are now follow a different faith, but they always continue to do something which reminds them of which keeps them connected to their original faith. So for example, a lot of Christians in Goa bring Ganpati for Ganesh Utsav, so and so forth. If you see wedding rituals, they continue to have some local tradition built into that. So that when these two things come together, the knowledge is there, the continuity of tradition is there, then you have no reason to not pick up the right worldview or the informed worldview. So that, I think, is what is happening with the youth. That they have access to information, they have access to knowledge, they have access to experts, they have access to the right media, and they can make an informed choice of what they want to do with that.
Very nice. Thank you.
And as our scriptures say, that the root cause of every problem is Agyan or ignorance, that you don't know it exists. So if our job, in fact, today I think my job as somebody who's read scriptures is just to put spotlight on it and say, guys, this exists. And then this generation will do whatever they need to do with it. They will take care of it.
Very nice. Thank you. If I'm a young student or a very young professional starting off my career, or in the middle of my career, what should I be doing on a daily basis according to you? The simplest of things that will help me be spiritually grounded, but also gives me enough energy to move up in my corporate career or my corporate ladder.
Okay. So for spirituality, once you are in a working age group, I would call you a Grihastha. So your primary responsibility is to do your job well, to the best of the satisfaction of your employer and your customer. Your responsibility is towards the family that you will create and raise. These are your two primary responsibilities, and of course the responsibilities of people who are dependent on you. So if you are an entrepreneur, your employees also in a way become your children, your praja, the right Sanskrit word would be. So you take care of these 2-3 people. That's your primary responsibility. And of course the social responsibility, if there is something that the society needs, you be a part of it. Now spiritually, what you can do is you can spend 5 minutes doing a japa of the Ishta Devta that you believe in, or the one who attracts you most. You can do a simple Naam japa, one mala, 108 times the name. It will give you 5 minutes of pure me time, the time that you spend with yourself. That becomes your personal ritual. If possible, do it at the same time every day, preferably after you take bath in the morning. But if not, start with wherever it works for you. It works late night for you, it works mid-morning for you. Wherever it works, start from there and then gradually build it up. It's like building up any other habit. And it will give you that 5 minutes, and then those 5 minutes will then start stretching according to what you need. If that 5 minutes is good enough, you'll stay there. If that needs to be stretched up at some point in time, you will stretch up naturally. And the knowledge and what you should be doing, it's available amply on the internet today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anuradha ji. This is a very short podcast. We'd like to host you back again, but thank you so much for being on the channel and supporting us.
Right.